friends, thanks for stopping by. I hope y'all having a great day. Today I am going to finally show you how to make a healthier granola. And remember, any recipe that I make, if you don't like something, you switch it out. If you want to put more of something, you go right ahead. You do whatever you want with my recipes, but my recipes for me are going to remain the way I make them, okay? All right, so let's get started. Granola is very easy to make yourself. You just have to make sure that the ingredients that you're using are quality ingredients and that the ingredients that are in the ingredients you are using aren't going to sabotage you. So first we are going to start off with 4 cups of dry, I use gluten-free old-fashioned rolled oats. These are Bob's Red Mill. I love this oatmeal. It just tastes different to me than other brands. You are going to need 2 cups of a crispy brown rice cereal, and this one is called Irulan. I don't really know how to say that. I'm sure somebody will tell me how to say it. It's 100% whole grain cereal. It is made out of brown rice, gluten-free, and it has less than 1 gram of sugar. Always look at the ingredient list of what you're using so that you don't sabotage yourself, okay? Then we are going to need 1.5 cups of unsweetened flaked coconut, unsulfured. So your coconut ingredients should list dried coconut. That is it, okay? The next ingredient you'll need is 1 cup of slivered almonds or sliced almonds. Make sure that your almonds are just plain almonds. No salt added to them, no sugar added to them, no sweeteners, no flavorings, no nothing. Just plain sliced almonds. And these are sliced almonds, okay? They're not slivered, they're sliced. And then I have a 1/2 cup of walnuts, which I'm going to roughly chop. And I also have excuse me, a 1/2 cup of pecans that I'm going to roughly chop. You will also need a 1/2 cup of maple syrup. This is from Whole Foods. It's a 365 organic maple syrup. I like the darkest amber I can find. It gives you more of that sultry maple flavor. So we will use a 1/2 cup of that. You will need 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. I use Simply Organic cinnamon, 2 tablespoons of it. More if you'd like your granola to be more cinnamon. And then just to incorporate some other spices in there, I'm going to use some apple pie spice. You can use pumpkin pie spice, you can use cloves, you can use whatever you want in your granola. Excuse me. So I have 1/2 teaspoon of this. Why is it that every time I start my videos I start coughing? Oh well. I'm going to add a pinch of sea salt, a pinch, that is it, because a pinch of sea salt will bring the flavors together, okay? But we don't want to go overboard with our salt. Then I'm going to use 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And for your dried fruits, now today I am going to use dried cherries. I like the dried cherries with the pecans and the walnuts. So I'm going to use dried cherries. This is the Eden Selected Dried Cherries, Montemorsi Tart. These are the best cherries for you. They help you to sleep too at night. You can also, these are some other options that I have done through the years. I have done figs, dried figs. Make sure your figs have nothing but sun-dried figs in them. Now my cherries, they have Montemorsi Tart cherries and apple juice. They're sweetened with apple juice. I'm okay with the apple juice sweetened. They also make a dried blueberry in the Eden, that's called the Eden Selected. I could only find these at Whole Foods. I couldn't find these anywhere else. So I shipped them home from Florida. You can also use dried cranberries. Again, make sure that your cranberries are sweetened with dried cane syrup or a juice versus your sugars. I mean, the cane sugar is still a sugar, but it's a lightly sweetened, it's a cleaner version. You don't want anything that has high fructose corn syrup. That's what I'm trying to get at. Stay away from the high fructose corn syrups. However, if you choose to eat that in your life, that is fine, because I choose to eat cheese. So I eat cheese. Okay, so I think that is my whole ingredient list. All you will need is, you need to preheat your oven to 250. This takes a little over an hour to bake. You bake it slow so that you get that nice granola feel to it. You're gonna need a large bowl and a smaller bowl. I have two bowls here. Okay, 2 glass bowls. You don't have to use glass bowls. You will need 2 glass, now this you will need glass baking dishes, anything that measures about a 9 by 13. These are oval, but they still work, and I have 2 of them. They're the same size, so I like to use those, but if you have the regular glass cake pans, go right ahead. You can make it in a tin pan, or an aluminum pan, but you have to be very careful and watch it because it burns quickly. All right, so let's get started. Oh, I almost forgot an important ingredient. You will need a 1/2 cup. I had it here melting because I live in colder climates, so it gets hard and you need it to be liquefied. You will need a 1/2 cup of coconut oil. And I buy mine at a Sam's, a BJ's, I think Costco might have. It's the Better Body Foods Organic Coconut Extra Virgin Coconut Oil, okay? So let's get busy now putting this together. So I have my large bowl. Into the large bowl, I'm going to put all my dry ingredients. So I'm going to put my 4 cups of oats, my 2 cups of brown rice cereal, my 1.5 cup of organic coconut flakes. We're going to put our 1 cup of sliced almonds. I'm going to roughly chop the walnuts. You just want to roughly chop them. You don't want them so small that they get lost in the granola. Just chop them so that they're a coarse chop. You don't want tiny little pieces like you're making chocolate chip cookies. Okay, so let's bring our dish back here. Let me just put these off to the side. You know, Martha and Rachel Ray and all of those, they have people that come around and do this. I'm going to have to hire somebody to do this. All right, so now I'm going to take my chopped walnuts and I'm going to add them to the dry mix. And I get every last bit of them in there. The same with the pecans. I think the pecans are pretty good. No, I'm going to give them a coarse chop. Some of them are halves. Okay, so we're going to add our pecans now. I've given them a coarse chopping. All to our mix. We are going to add our cinnamon into the mix, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. We are going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of apple pie spice. We are going to add our pinch of salt. And we are going to add a 1/2 cup of the dried cherries. And I'm going to measure those out to a 1/2 cup, and I'm going to chop them because they are whole cherries, and I want to chop them so they distribute better into the granola while it's cooking. You don't want to have big chunks of whole cherries in there. Well, you do. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's okay. Whatever you want, all right? Okay, so I just given them a rough chop, and I'm going to add those into the granola. I love the dried cherries with the coconut flavor. I love it. And the pecans, love it. Okay, so there we have our dry. So now I'm just going to take a spatula and I'm going to mix all of my dry ingredients together. You want to do this for a minute or so just to make sure that you're getting the cinnamon, the apple pie spice all over, mixed, distributed through the rest of the bowl of oats, because you want to have that flavor every time you take a bite of your granola. This is really so simple. It truly is. It takes you longer to measure the ingredients out than it does to actually make the granola. So I think I have mixed that up pretty good. So now I am going to take this bowl. I'm going to set this bowl in front here. I'm going to take a smaller bowl now. I actually probably could use a much smaller bowl, but I'll use this one anyway. And oop, I got a cherry running away there. All right, so now I'm going to take my coconut oil and pour it into the bowl, making sure you could see everything. I'm going to take my 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla, and then I am going to take my maple syrup. Here's a little trick I did, because your maple syrup ends up sticking to everything that you put it in. If you spray the container with a little coconut oil and then put your maple syrup in, it's the same with honey. It'll pour right out for you and you really don't waste that much. Okay, so now I think that is all I have to put in there. Now it's oil-free. You can use apple butter, applesauce, pumpkin, the equivalent to the oil that I used. I've made it with pumpkin and then put pumpkin pie spice in it. Oh, so good. I'm just going to whisk these ingredients together and give it a really good whisk. And I'm sorry about the noise. You know, it takes a lot to make these videos. And I get people that complain about my pepper mill. They complain about the utensils making noises. Turn the video down and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I always put the recipe underneath. I like my whisk and I like my glass bowls, and I know that it's annoying to some people, but to be honest with you, when I'm watching a cooking video, I don't even hear what's going on in that bowl. I am just so taken with the recipe that I just enjoy it. Okay, so now I have really incorporated that. Now remember, if you were using the oil, if you were eliminating the oil, you would put your apple butter, your applesauce, or your pumpkin pumpkin puree. You would just do the same thing. Just go ahead and whisk it up together, okay? So now I'm going to take my big bowl and bring it back here. And believe me, I don't mean to complain at all, because it really has no effect on me at all when I get a negative comment or I get somebody telling me I shouldn't be doing this or I shouldn't be doing that. It really doesn't. It's not going to change who I am or what I'm doing here. It's just, I really would just like to save them the aggravation of putting something in a comment. I mean, you know. Anyway, all right. I just don't think that some people, I don't think they realize what goes into making a video and to get it perfect. And that you don't have a television crew, and you don't have a camera crew, and you don't have a lighting crew, and you don't have a professional editor, you don't have a producer sitting here. It's just little old me in my kitchen trying to do the best I can with my little Canon. All right, so I'm going to take this now and we're going to drizzle it over the dry. And it'll seem like, oh, I need a little bit more. And if you find that you want it a little stickier, your granola, you just add a little bit more of these ingredients. It's all up to you what you do. Okay, so that is done. Now, we are going to just incorporate the wet and the dry together and try to spend some time doing this so that you really get that syrup mixture all over everything, because you'll have a granola that holds together, and you're not going to have, you know, real big chunks or anything like that, but if you really get it mixed together, you will have that cluster for your granola. Of course, you're going to have some loose pieces that just, you know, are going to stay loose, but for the most part, and it will come together nicely. And another thing, I think so much about what you could do here, because I have so many people ask me questions. Yes, you can, this can be gluten-free, just using your ingredients. It can be vegan if you want to use things that make it vegan. You can use, as your sweetener, you can use honey, you can use brown rice syrup, you can use any sweetener that you like. I wouldn't get into the stevias or stuff like that, because it's just not going to work for this. You definitely need something that's syrupy, that has the stickiness to it. But, you know, honey is not off limit, whatever you like. I like the flavor of maple syrup in my granola. I love the flavor of maple syrup on everything, actually. Not on everything, but you know, the breakfast items. My oatmeal, when I make hot oatmeal, oh, I love the maple syrup drizzled on it. Okay, so, and you could put quinoa, you could put puffed amaranth. There's so many different cereals you could use for this. And there's so many, I mean, you could just throw it out. You could put chia seeds in here. You could put flaxseed in here. You can do whatever you want. Of course, the more dry ingredients you put into this recipe, you're going to have to up your liquids a little bit, just so that you get a granola. Unless you're okay with a granola that is, you know, pour in a bowl, put milk on it, and eat. I throw this granola over yogurt. Yes, over yogurt. I can't do two things and talk, you know. I can't. Have you figured it out? No. Okay, so I have really incorporated the syrup into the granola mix. Now we're going to take our bowl and we're going to put equal parts in the bowl. And you just want, oh, it smells so good. I'm telling you. I wish I had smell-o-vision for my friends. And we're just going to put that in the bowl. Let me get my other one over here. Okay, so we have our other bowl. I'm going to put the same amount in the other bowl. And I'm just going to spread it into the pan. Remember, try to use glass for this. If you don't have glass, of course,
you know, put some parchment paper down or something like that on it so that it helps to prevent it from burning and shorten the time of cooking. But it is cooking at a very low temperature. And depending on your oven, you may have to adjust your time. But set your oven for 250. Do it in advance so you have a really nice warm oven when you put this in there. And your house is going to smell so fabulous, I am telling you. Very fabulous. All right, so that is it, my friends. It will look like this in the pan. Beautiful. You'll have two of them. This, the way I store this is once it's cooled, I put it in mason jars, and then I can just, you know, pour it, use it up when I want, and I can keep the others sealed, and it's pretty good. It is just really an easy granola that tastes very, very good. Okay, so we have put it in our bowl, our baking dishes, and we are going to put this in the oven at 250 for about 1 hour. Sometimes it takes a little bit more, sometimes a little less. These in the oven, and I'll see you back here in a little over an hour, and we'll talk about what else we have to do, okay? Okay. Okay, my friends, I am back, and you are not going crazy. It is a different day. Yesterday was Friday, and I made this late in the afternoon. We were going to dinner, so I ran out of time to do the next step, because what's very important in this granola, if you want it to have little chunks, because there's not a lot of fat and garbage in here, it will break apart easily. So you want that presentation of being clumpy, lumpy granola like we see in the stores that has all the sugars binding it together. What you need to do with this is you bake it at 250. I baked it for about 65 minutes. It really won't change in color. It does get a little bit of toasty brownness to it, but you want to turn off the oven when it's done, but you don't take it out of the oven. You leave it to completely cool. So that's why I like to make this in the morning, and then by the end of the day it is cooled in the oven. So I had to leave it in there overnight because I made it later in the day and we were going out, and I wanted to be able to show you it in the lumpy, chunky forms that you get most granolas. All right, so you will bake it at 250 for about 60-65 minutes. Turn off your oven, leave it in there. Let it cool as long as you possibly can. And mine is obviously cold because it sat in the oven all night, so it's just a room temperature. So now I have a very large mason jar, which I got at, I think I bought this at Target. Oh, I didn't finish my story. So I'm dressed because it's now Saturday morning and I'm getting ready to go to the mall to return a couple of things that I bought. So I am changed and ready to go for that. But before I go, I wanted to show you how to break apart and store your granola. Now Louis went golfing this morning, and I wanted to send some along with some of the guys that he golfs with. So I sent little mason jars for them. So I have here left a large mason jar that I purchased at Target, I believe. You can find these, I think they're regularly at Target. Every now and then you can find them at a TJ Maxx or a Marshall, but this is a really large one. It doesn't really say the size of it, but anyway, it's a big guy. So now what you'll do with your completely cooled granola, you want to take it and you want to just kind of break into it, okay, like that. And then just pick it up with your spoon and you'll have beautiful little chunks of granola. You don't want to go small, you want to be big chunkies, and then handle it as little as possible when you're putting it in. And then it will stay in little clump forms for you. And you'll get little clusters of, you know, the nuts, the cherries, everything that you've put into it. And I just love this. Lou loves it. It's great over yogurt. If you're a person that likes to sit down and eat granola in the morning with just your milk, that's fine too. Enjoy it any way you want. I mean, it can be a snack. As a snack, carrying it around is going to separate and you're going to get more of a grainy type of... I just thought my spoon is probably really annoying someone on the bottom of the dish. So sorry. There's so many things you have to be careful of. All right, so I have my second one. Got to do the same thing. I'm just going to chop into it. And I'm gonna take that big clump because it's gonna fall apart and separate inside of here. Whoops, a little bit overboard. And there you have it, a beautiful beautiful granola that goes, I like it best over yogurt, I really do. But it's just a fabulous, healthy granola. And I can tell you, it seems like it really doesn't take a lot. It's the cooling down that takes the longest part. But it's really, really a very simple recipe. As I mentioned, if you want to make it oil-free, go ahead and use applesauce, apple butter, pumpkin puree, pumpkin butter if you like. Just make sure that the ingredients you're using to make your granola are clean. And by clean, the less in the product, the cleaner it is. So you don't want to put, see, I have a perfectly beautiful, low-calorie, low-fat granola that has no partially hydrogenated oils, no trans fat, no high fructose corn syrup, nothing like that, but yet it is full of beautiful flavors because of the cinnamon and just that little bit of coconut oil we use. I have made it with pumpkin. It makes beautiful. When you're using with pumpkin instead of the apple pie spice, use pumpkin pie spice with the cinnamon. And then you'll get that beautiful pumpkin and change it to cranberries with the pumpkin. Whatever you want. If you like raisins, use raisins. I don't care for raisins. I just don't know why, but I cannot stand raisins. But if you like raisins, you go ahead and use it. I like the Montemorsi cherries because they have the melatonin and they really do something for your body. They help you to sleep and stay asleep. Anyway, that's it for my granola. I'm sorry that it took almost a year. You can see that it makes a lot. And because it's just Louie and myself, we don't go through it as fast as, you know, a lot of people think I would, but we don't. And this is something that I usually make in the fall. I don't know why this becomes a fall food for me. I don't really make it a lot in the summer, so that's what took me so long to do it. But here we are with my healthy, low-fat granola. Again, all I do is I see a recipe I'll like and I'll go, well, I don't like that ingredient, I don't like that, I don't like that. And I just change it and make it my own. That's it. That's how I create my recipes. I just take an old recipe that's unhealthy, make it healthy. How I do it up here in my head is I just experiment. If you get a bad batch, you throw it out. Okay? All right, so thanks for stopping by. Let me know if you have a granola recipe that you love making and share it with us. But until the next Healthy Zone, be happy, be healthy, be beautiful, and most of all, my friends, be lovable. I love you all. Bisous. In case somebody wants to know, because this is like the Chanel faux, I bought this last year. Actually, I bought this, I believe, when I was with Joelle. So it's been quite a while, and I bought it at Boston Proper, I believe, in Florida, because we don't have a Boston Proper here. The Coconut Point Mall had it, but this was last year at the Boston Proper, and it's that faux Chanel. It's pretty nice. Let me do an outfit of the day for you. I have on, let me see if I can do it. All right, here I have on just a nice little black tee by BCBG, no biggie. And my Boston Proper jacket, and my jeans are from Lucky. I don't know where they are. And then I have my boots on from Coach. And that's my outfit of the day. Love you guys. Bisous.